everybody, it's Coffee Morning with Karlos, where I talk about a game based upon top secret criteria whilst drinking my morning coffee until my cup is dry. Ooh, I don't know about this one. I mean, everyone keeps saying that Darksiders 3 is a crappy Dark Souls ripoff, and if that's the metric you're going to use, then yes, as a Dark Souls ripoff, it is crappy. Furthermore, it's not even a good Darksiders game, in the sense that the franchise used to be a pretty decent Legend of Zelda ripoff. So with that in mind, did I manage to squeeze out any fun with it despite its many flaws? Let's take a look. THQ are back, baby! THQ Nordic, that is. Now, I was a big fan of a lot of the THQ published games in the Xbox 360 years. Space Marine, the first Darksiders, Saints Row 3, Deblob 2, Dawn of War. That's just scratching the surface. If they hadn't lost $100 million trying to get people to play drawing games on their PlayStations, then their catalogue of games might have been even more impressive. But hey, sometimes you've got to speculate to accumulate. Or in this case, speculate to bankrupt the company and default on your loans. Whoops. So, THQ Nordic have released Darksiders 3, a big title on their publishing roster that also includes Jagged Alliance, Rage, New Desperados, and an interesting-looking Biomutant, where you get to play some sort of angry eye patch-wearing fox. The reviews for Darksiders 3 have been mixed, and it's getting a lot of people very hot and bothered, and frankly, after playing the game, I can't blame them. Darksiders 3 is a mixture of stale tropes and frustration, wrapped in a package of restricted ideas. It is a poor Darksiders game, failing to have the inventive puzzles or interesting environments to explore that the original titles had, and as an even worse crime, it's even a poor Souls-like game, having none of the finesse of those titles in both enigmatic world building and combat gameplay. And I say this as someone who never really enjoyed a Souls game until 3, and even then would drop it in a heartbeat for a fancy Civilization expansion. And I never got one of those either. So, you are Fury, third horseman, or indeed horsewoman of the apocalypse, according to the Darksiders franchise. And, appropriately enough, you're more than a little annoyed at being overlooked for leader of your band of merry, murderous equestrians. Then there's some plot, and it ends up with you having to go and whip everyone to death. Fair dues. Unfortunately, too many aspects of Darksiders 3 are just not very good. And it's kind of difficult to get this across without experiencing the game for yourself and how it feels. Platforming is just not very good. Too often, Fury won't grab a ledge when she should. It doesn't lead to, like, falling out of bounds, but it's frustrating when you're trying to navigate the mapless world. The fighting is just not very good. Too often you're mobbed by enemies who do immense damage from off-screen with barely any suggestion that it's coming. The controls lend themselves to imprecise button mashing aside from the crucial dodge riposte moves, which are really your only method for tackling your foes. So it all becomes a bit repetitive and a bit samey. Not exactly driving the game forward. The story and characterization, well, it's just not very good, with a nod to the occasionally funny moments between Fury and her female companion.
This is not what we seek. Let us carry on.
Wait. The Maker.
Owe him nothing.
I know. I want him to owe me.
The story is, as I mentioned before, nothing but a wash of tropes. The 7 deadly sins are the bosses. There's a betrayal that's telegraphed from the opening of the game. The narrative impetus is, well, it's literally zero beyond what does the next boss look like, which would be fine. We are, after all, celebrating 25 years of Doom. If the gameplay was, as thrilling. But it's a Sure. For the first couple of sections of the game, I was more forgiving of its awkwardness, expecting the game to grow into itself and find a rhythm. And I guess it did, but the tune was a dirge of frustrating combat, boring level design, and an ever-increasing feeling of, why bother? So yeah, I wasn't a fan. Darksiders 3, thanks but no thanks, I guess. Let's hope that Biomutant is a stunning return to form for our THQ pals. Thanks ever so much for watching today's video on Darksiders 3. I do hope that you've enjoyed it and found it useful. And if you have, please do not hesitate to leave a like somewhere where you found this video. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. Darksiders 3 is a mixture of... This is a hard thing to say. Darksiders 3 is a mixture of... Oh, yeah. Darksiders 3 is a mixture of... 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 Is a mixture of... Oh, I've repeated myself. Piss.